What's going on, everyone? It's time for another family adventure film review. Today we're going to talk about a film called Radio Flyer. This was released by Columbia Pictures February 21st, 1992, and it was written by David McKay Lewis, produced by Lauren Schiller Donner, and directed by Richard Donner, who did films like Lethal Weapon, The Goonies, Superman, Superman 2, and Superman 3. He also did The Omen. This had a box office earnings of only $4.6 million. So this is a family adventure film where a group of kids and their mom, who can barely afford to get by, are moving across this country, and she meets this guy who she really falls in love with. Then lo and behold, he has a darker side where he beats one of the kids. And so, to free the violence and stuff like that, the kids go on adventures throughout the days. And it's basically a coming of age story. And but then they have the great idea of making the radio flyer wagon into an airplane so they can fly away from the dangers at home. This is actually a really heartwarming movie and heart-wrenching film. It gets very dark and it can get pretty unnerving for some. Overall, the acting is really good in this, even with the child actors and stuff. The cinematography is really good and the music's really good in this. The story itself is a little slow and a little dull at times, and it doesn't really move at a fast pace. You spend a lot of time with the kids and you really get to feel for them. So when the darker evil stuff starts happening, it really wrenches you at your heartstrings and stuff. I really enjoyed that. Like, that sounds kind of bad, but yeah, that's actually a positive for it. It definitely does what it is. I think this film is actually pretty underrated. I don't really have anything else to really say about it. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty good family drama film with a little bit of adventure in there, a little bit of thrills and stuff. You really get to hate the stepdad in this. And yeah, it has a stereotypical outcome, and there's a little bit of random characters in there that are just there to be there, but they don't really add to the story at all. But overall, I thought Radio Flyer was actually a pretty decent movie. It was better than I was expecting it to be. So yeah, it's not streaming anywhere or anything like that, so I'll link the trailer down below so you can check it out if it sounds like something you want to check out. And I'm going to give this film a 3.5 out of 5. It's decent enough, but it's a good popcorn flick with a little more heartwarming, heart-wrenching sort of story, sort of like Lassie and stuff. It sort of has elements of that, but it's still a good family drama adventure film, so you should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Also, make sure you check out my Instagram. It's linked down below. That's where I post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my stories. But the film title there is some fun factor history thing in there as well. Also, my Letterbox down below, Derek P reviews. That's where I post my first star in it right after watching the films. And my Twitter's down below, reviews on a Squid Derek. So follow me on those platforms. Stay loop with this channel. Like this video, share it somewhere people will have a comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. If you have any films or film franchises in any genre and on any streaming service that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. Make sure you subscribe. Hope you find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought of checking out together, and also share my opinions on popular films that have come out, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because, well, we're going to do another another family comedy, North, in the next review, so make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, watch out for all those evil stepdads out there driving the kids into trying to fly away, and I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.